Festool has made their products ergonomic through all the tools that they make. What happens with the sanding end of it, they've made it so that it's virtually dust-free and there's no vibration on your arms and your hands from how well this tool works. It starts out with the heart of the system being the vac. The vac has a auto on or a manual on. And you can hear the air movement makes more noise than what the tool does, the vacuum. Then you have a variable speed control. That's the hard pulling to the softest pulling. And you want to put it, when you're sanding, on the slowest position, slowest suction possible. The reason being is this tool is engineered different than any other. I mean, yes, it looks like a palm sander, but the big difference is this tool has a hole in the center. This is the bottom of the pad. And what it does is the paper, it is proprietary. It has a hole in the center. And what that allows is this motor, the whole time it's working, is blowing air down through the center hole, pushing all your debris out to the perimeter, and it's being picked up by the holes. You can literally sand and also see the dust curl over from the holes that are in the side of the pad. What makes that good is it's basically keeping your pad dust-free, no buildup, no gunk, and it's also letting the tool float. And again, the vacuum down on its lower side, lowest setting, is this tool will float on the air cushion of that motor blowing as the vacuum's pulling the dust away. So it makes it less fatigue on your arm, but it also gives a smoother sand. Also, again, being a proprietary paper, with Festool, their paper allows, every time this shifts left or right, the paper stays on left or right. You can use other paper. The downside is the hook and loops aren't the same, and what you'll get is a shifting. There'll be that hesitation in the paper, and then all of a sudden you've got these little swirl marks that you weren't expecting when you're down to the end of your finish. So yes, it is proprietary, but it also makes it a point of, most times if you've set your vacuum correct, you're using your paper correct to what you're doing, you literally will use 3 to 5 times less paper than what you buy other brands, even the more expensive paper. So it brings it down to basically between 52 to 64 cents a pad. And when I'm sanding, I literally have my pads laying out there, my different discs, and I just change back and forth constantly. And they look old and worn, but they still have cutting edge and they're still working. But I wanted to go over a little bit of technique with it, and just right off the bat show you what I'm talking about. When you're sanding, you can literally let this tool work for you. You don't have to bear down. If you find that the grit is not, or you're not taking off enough material, change and go to a little coarser grit. Just drop down the grit and let it work. This right now I have on here is 120 grit, and I use that as an example because what I'm going to do here is just show you what happens when you turn the tool on. So you're literally sucking that wood up off the paste. When you turn, and you'll hear that tool. Sorry, I know it's that. When you'll hear the tool even labor, the tool's working harder when that vacuum's fighting it the whole time. Also, because of how precision these tools are, you can't do that with anybody else's sander. To just let that sit there and rotate back and forth. Because of the precision, the arbor's precision, the armatures are precision, and all the bearings are precision. So, not that you're going to go around holding your hose with your sander, but that's just showing that that's not being vibrating up into your arm, all that fatigue. So when you're using the tool, you want to keep it down, and I know Mitch will cover it more, but you're going to work it into a pattern. You just want to make sure that you spend a lot of time going over the area and just let the tool work. You can bear down, but that's not going to do you any good. The tool bites you. Just let the tool work, and you'll really find how quick and easy your arm isn't going numb from the tingling and the vibration. And I know for me, all the years of doing it, it doesn't take but my old tools for about 10 minutes. And I couldn't even turn it off one-handed. I had to literally turn my tool off with the other hand because I couldn't move my fingers. So all the tools that we have in the shop will be basically the same way. They're set up. You're going to have some palm sanders in there. You're going to have the vac, and I think we'll go around and check, but I think all the vacs have been turned down low so that you will get that nice floating effect. That's really about it. Any questions? Yes.
So when you put it on auto,
Well, I'm sorry. Yes, it automatically comes on with the tool. So that vac's running right now. No, you have to physically set the speed, and that's another little dial down below. So just turn it all the way down. Oh, good. We'll cover that. Thank you. Oh, you got the little adapters in the box there. Sorry. This is their newest little setup. What happens is there's times where you don't want to have a power tool, but you do want your dust control. That's where this new little jitterbug or little palm sander setup does. It's just a hook and loop pad with the same holes that are in one of their power tools already. And what that does, and this is even more crucial to make sure that you have your vacuum down lower. This one here. So now you have to manually turn it on. And you'll see now that all you're going to do is be going with the grain or breaking your edges, and it doesn't want to suck it down to the work. It does a little bit. Let me fix, there we go. It's got a Venturi set up on it so that you can literally regulate that air and go back and forth with the grain, and you're able to pull all your dust out. You're not going to be breathing it because what's going to happen, you're going to get so used to using, if you get to that point you're buying Festool and you're using it, you're going to get so used to having no dust in your face. When you go to break an edge, all of a sudden you're sitting there hand sanding with paper in your hand and it's coming up in your face and you're going, man, if I only had dust control from my hand. You know, well now you have it. This is the new little setup, and it's all perforated, takes standard Festool paper, and you're ready to go. And again, it has a Venturi down there to regulate your air. Show that. You can open or close it depending on how much air you want to have in or out, or how coarse a paper you're doing. That's the other thing that will dictate. But in this case, it's mostly going to be fine paper you're using anyway, because you're denubbing and taking fuzz off, maybe breaking some small edges. Thank you. Any questions?
Is this the only tool, the sander, the only tool you want to keep it on low?
Absolutely, it's the only one. All the other Festool products, generally, anything you're doing that's making chips, big chips, cutting where you have large, not as big chips like from a router, but a track saw, you want to have it as max as you can go. Now, not to say that you won't turn the vac up a little bit when you're sanding, but what you want to do is, if I'm sanding with a palm sander, I'm going along, as long as I don't see any airborne dust coming into the room or lifting up around the sander, I leave it as low as I can go. If you had to do, like, say, a 40 grit, you were going to come in with one of their other sanders, a Rotex. It's an aggressive sander. You may find that as you're going along, it's throwing out a little bit more dust. Well, then you just tweak the collection up just a little bit, just to grab some of that dust. But generally, as a rule, always down. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is this the professional setup and there's a home use, or
Well, yes, basically they're all the same. They're all HEPA rated. All their vacs are, their main bag takes it down to 5 microns. There's a filter inside that expels the air to 0.3 microns. So all from their smallest little 2-gallon all the way up to their 12-gallon are all HEPA rated, and you can basically use all of them the same way. They're all industrial. So it just comes down to what you're going to do. So if in fact this is one of the bigger units, because we're doing routing, we're doing sawing, we're doing other products like that. But if you were just doing finishing all the time and occasionally maybe a track saw or routing, you could get one of the smaller units and not cost you as much. But they all work the same way. Good variable speed between 130 and 137 CFM, basically, the vacuum. And so there's a vacuum for every use, every need. And we have catalogs out there if you want. We have some on the floor, and you'll be actually in the class. You'll be using some of the different styles. We have some of the bigger ones. We have some of the smaller ones that you can be playing with. Yes.
Does the hose fitting fit ports on other brands' tools?
Just if it does, it's just by chance. It is proprietary again, but again, this is all metric size. So
Yeah.
if there's any other sander, you can either use a Fernco fitting, like in the plumbing section that has the little hose clamps to make it work. This is static, anti-static hose. That's the other thing. You won't get any cling as you're sanding. Plus, it's pulling your dust away. But some it does fit some other tools. I can't be specific because every manufacturer is a little different.
Yeah, they sure are.
They make it difficult. So, all right, I'll turn it back over to you, Matt, and you're ready to go.